Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic, and this is another reaction to the Monogatari series. It is Owarimonogatari episode 7, and you know what to do. As always, if you want to see the reaction itself, just go down into my descriptions, follow the links, replace the circumflex dot parts with real dots, and enjoy. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear out my thoughts about this episode and arc. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Okay, that was an interesting ending. In many ways, well, how to say? In some ways surprising, in many ways not. I kind of discussed already the option. I think I mentioned it. The option that the mother might have been in the room. That even maybe, which would have been very very harsh. That so that Shoikura killed her mother herself, maybe even something like that. But yeah, it's something in between, kind of. So the mother starved herself to death, which, I mean, wow, that's a tough one. And she, the girl, did not realize it. I think it's not that she didn't realize it. It is that she simply chose to not accept it, chose to not see it. And I think that's a major thing here. So she cannot be really sane after that. Her brain simply chose not to accept this fact, to bring it into her consciousness. So she just acted as though her mother was just not eating anymore, just not talking anymore, just not moving anymore. Although she was dead already. This is fiction. This is a story, so I will go with it. In real life, I am very sure that someone would have found out. I mean, she is in kind of treatment by people. She is governed by the state. She is looked after. So I'm pretty sure someone would have found out, and it wouldn't have been like that. But it is, as I said, it is fiction, and I can see where they're heading for what they wanted to show. And interestingly enough, the whole storyline was about the fact overlooking things, after all. So, which is very fitting. So, it was Araragi overlooking her, forgetting about her, not really consciously seeing her and realizing who she is and that she exists. So far that he completely forgot about her. And even this episode, they showed that his sisters don't remember her either. So that was one theme of this arc, I think. And she herself, on the other hand, Sodachi Okura, did overlook or maybe forget about the death of her mother. She actively or passively did not realize that. Which, as I already said, might be something that her brain made sure about to just save her, because otherwise she may have been broken even more. And I think it's very fitting, and it's kind of I wouldn't say comedic, but I'm searching for the word here. It's very fitting because the whole series is very much about overlooking stuff, about not realizing stuff. I get fed all the time informations about characters, about background plots working together, about Ougi, who she is, what she is, whatever, and I miss parts of information, so I'm overlooking things. So that is very fitting. They are going for this. The whole concept of having informations, not having informations, and having informations you are not aware of that you have. I mean, seriously, this series is in very high territory when it comes to working with your brain. You know, it's not just entertainment. I mean, as you all know, I reacted to a lot of other series in the past, and there are very many who are head heavy, who have a bit of thinking involved, but there are many who are just for entertainment mainly, and sometimes go into a bit deeper water of thinking. But this series is really head heavy, and works with issues and concepts that are far off in many ways. So kudos, not bad. We started off with Ougi and Hanekawa, however, and Aragi, and I once again thought that this was an interesting scene because it still brings the question that I have since episodes: who the heck is Ougi, and what are her reasons? So she had this aha moment at the beginning, which was weird again. So there was this, it felt a bit like sarcasm, black humor, and a little bit, you know, like someone laughing that is not really laughing. As Aragi very clearly pointed out, she was upset about not being taken with him. So she was really upset about that, and showed it in her very own way with this strange laugh. And then she sat between Aragi and Hanekawa, so she did an active split of those two. She did fondle something, as we've all seen, which was a weird situation again. And she kind of tried to convince both of them to agree that they were wrong, and that the better option would have been if Oshino Ougi would have gone with Aragi. So there was more than just angry. She was really like, wouldn't say bitter, more like she needed the statement that she is better than Hanekawa. Which is interesting, because it shows that she has ego, if you know what I mean. So far, and up to this moment, it was never completely clear to me when it comes to her human side. Emotions, feelings, can you, as example, manipulate Oshino Ougi? She always seemed very strange, like a mix of a human being and something else. But now we see that she has her very own ego, which can be damaged, clearly, and then she gets upset. She handles it strangely, but she reacted. So that's an interesting information for me about her, what she is. I said that she reminds me of a scarecrow, and I've seen that in the past episodes, and there always was something in my mind like she reminds me of something, and now I got it. It is this movement, the long sleeves, and like that is very much like a scarecrow. And she has this strange movement in general. So, where we are again at a puppet. You know, Scarecrow in the end is kind of a puppet again. And she asked, and that's because it's the first time, I think, she asked Aragi to, when he admits that he made the wrong choice, that he should say he loves her more than Hanekawa. So there we are in the concept of love again, which up to this moment, to me, it never appeared like Oshino Ougi was interested in getting his love towards her. So, I don't know, maybe she just said it because she knows that the concept of love is a major one for him. Maybe that's it. Hanekawa reacted, thinking about it in 10 seconds by washing her hair and getting the white out again. So we have this Hanekawa cat moment there, and she got the solution, which, okay, once again shows that she's clever. But as she says herself, it is what kind of person do you have to be to think first of the solution that we finally got in this episode? of the fact that the mother starved to death and then evaporated in the room. That's not something you come up with instantly as the first thing, normally. So she kind of questioned the way of thinking of Oshino Ougi there as well. I like the scene of the two girls / woman sitting and pointing out the hints towards Aragi. They skipped the last ones because it was clearly just, you know, at the last one before that was mentioned, it was, at least for me, clear where they were going, and then it is just this, you push more hints because you have to convince him and yourself that it is like that, because there are truths that we do not want to have. There are things no one wants to be true, and you really need to have multiple proofs until someone is in the end willing to accept it. And things like that, or stuff like, as example, as happened in the past, that a kid shot its own father with a pistol, stuff like that, you don't want to have, you don't want to hear, you know. It shakes some foundations of what we want to be true. There we are again at my honey-coated life, you know. I want to know good things. I sometimes don't want to hear harsh truths. So about this, as I mentioned, it's a fantasy. It's a constructed storyline here in a normal crime series, stuff like that. I would have very, very much questioned this theory of the body decomposing so completely, and then the rest being thrown away, and that she would have gotten through with it and no one ever found it out. That is something that is very unlikely in my opinion. But I see the idea of a constructed storyline here to go for that. After that, after the discussion and everything, there is the thing that once again shows what Oshino Ougi mentioned in the beginning towards Aragi already, of this arc, of the arc before, I think. The fact that he has grown, that he has matured, that he is more of an adult now. He now knows what happens, and there are options he can go for. So it's very likely that Sodachi Okura, her inner self, her consciousness, chose to not realize, to not see the death of her mother, to defend herself from that. And he could have gone saying, we will just let it be that way and that's it. We will never see again, possibly. You know, this running away, as that Oshino Ougi mentioned. She thought he would turn tails and run away from this decision. But he did not. He chose to tell her, which is a harsh thing to do. I mean, how you say something like that to someone, you know? How you inform her that her mother is dead, you inform her that she was somehow aware of it, and it happened, and that she chose to not wanting to realize it, and she even threw away the rest of the body of her mother like trash. So there's a lot in it. In general, I would say he normally should have gone to a, I don't know, psychologist, something like that, and they would think about how to tell someone like that. But okay, so that's, he did it. She was very relaxed about it. I think it is once again the question how much of it really came to the back of her mind. How much she heard it, she got the information, but I think that is something she will work through over years. That's not something you work through immediately. But he showed spirit, he showed backbone. He was aware of the fact that it might very well happen that she hates him even more after that, you know? He's the messenger with the bad news, and the messenger with the bad news is normally killed by the king. So, but he accepted that, seeing their past that they had, and his reasons was, and I really like that once again about him, that he wanted her to finish this and finally find a happy life. Because we've seen in the last episode so very much that she has anything but a happy life, and she stopped herself from having a happy life. So that's where he wants to bring her to be happy. I like that. I like the sentence that he had in there, happiness is not a race. So he wanted to propel her, if possible at all, even further than he is when it comes to happiness. I don't think that's an easy one. And I like this idea of his that if you bring happiness to someone and you propel him further than you are, there is this moment when this person comes back and shares this happiness, and it's like you pull each other up all the time. This idea of that is kind of self-fulfilling, that bringing happiness to someone else will make you happy yourself somehow in the end. That's a really good idea. I like it. I just check. There's not so much anymore. In the end, this was the end of the storyline. We have the letter, and I really don't know what it is in there. There might be something like a reminder of their past, something like the Euler chromatic, or maybe an idea about this. I forgot what it was with the 3 gates. You know what I mean? Something like that. But in the end, he smiled. He liked it. So I guess it is a positive feedback, and it is the kind of the last image that we see from her. This idea that she ended their conversation, this meeting with a positive note, while all other meetings of the two of Aragi and Sodachi Okura in the past always ended negatively. So there is a change. It's possibly a major one. I really want to hope that. Which brings me to the last two. Hanekawa is leaving at this moment for her journey, as we know. And Oshino Ougi, once again, cannot stop leaving without having some remarks for the future. So she says that she was beaten there, which is interesting. So she sees this like it's a competition, which is interesting. She lost there. I ask myself why, what kind of loss she sees there. However, she's good sports in this loss by saying, well, we'll see how this will equalize in the future. She mentioned that this was it feels to me like it was kind of a test, how Aragi would cope with friends from his past. That was more or neither what she said, and he did very well and surprised her there. And she said it might be different in the future. The future is as dark as streets at night. We know that the next one that, as it seems, is her test again, is Nadeko, and that one, well, it did not go good it did not went well in the beginning, but in the end, I think he kind of did that again. So it seems like Oshino Ougi is testing Aragi. But I don't know why. I really don't know. Which always falls back to the old question that you know and the answer that you always give. So it's as always, who the heck is Oshino Ougi and what are her reasons for doing what she does? But I can see that this is a storyline, this is an arc that many people liked. Especially because Oshino Ougi is still so mysterious. And I really have to agree that it is fantastic writing. It keeps the overall storyline of the whole Monogatari series interesting. It gives you huge things to think about philosophically and everything, while still kind of hoping that there will be a solution. And I'm not really sure if I really want to have an answer. I mean, that may seem weird, but I don't know if I really ever want to know who Oshino Ougi is. Because in being so mysterious as she is, she keeps it interesting and fresh. And I hope for the next chapter, for the next episodes. So, as always, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.